Actually, let me tell you guys, three banks, KCB, Cooperative, I've also checked ABSA Bank. Those banks actually, they are green flag banks. They are major banks. They are very good for investing. KCB is very good. You bring KCB in because of the prospects that it has concerning its expansion. It actually is focusing to expand its banking services to the market in DRC. And then when you look at cooperative, just look at the CEO of cooperative, the amount of shares he decided to go and buy from the cooperative. That's a green flag to you as an investor and to myself as also an investor. You should be able to look at that long term. Imagine at the beginning of this year, Cooperative Bank was trading at, was it 27 or 28 shillings? Right now, we are 6 months down the line. Actually, we are in the mid month of June. And Cooperative is now trading at today on Friday. Today on Friday, 19th of June, it has closed at a price of 33 shillings. That's a very good step. That's a green flag for you as an investor, knowing that in the long term, we are all looking at this share price to go high up. It is gonna go high up steady, but at a very strong move, giving you a very good confidence that your money, when you have invested it in cooperative, it is going to give you a steady, uh, uh, a steady comeback of shares and an amount that you get from that. It is very, very lucrative. For cooperative bank, just go to it full throttle. But remember, this is not a financial advice. You have also to look for your own personal financial advisor to give you more analysis on this. But for me, I am speaking to you as an investor. That cooperative bank is a great staking bank. You can invest and stake your money in cooperative bank confidently. Of course, after doing analysis, there's a video that I'm gonna post also that I've done analysis on cooperative bank uh, as per their books. But cooperative bank, it is a great bank for you as a long-term investor, because as an investor we are all having staking to stake our funds in a venture sector or industry or institution on the long-term basis. Because if it's for a short-term basis, then just go for trading. But if you are an investor, actually Coop Bank is a green flag for you. Trading right now at 33 shillings. We don't know at the end of the year at what share price will it close with. That is Cooperative Bank. Look at ABSA Bank. ABSA Bank lately it has dropped news whereby they are looking forward to buy shares in Kenya. Was it what 86%? Around there, something around 80%. That they are gonna raise their share price, their market capitalization in Kenya with a very very great chunk. We know all that ABSA Bank is a it's a banking institution that's originating from South Africa, but it has its strong foot also in Kenya. And you see, it is widening its stake in investing in the Kenyan market. That's a green flag also to you as an investor that you can go full throttle in ABSA Bank. Actually, ABSA Bank has closed today at a share price of 30 shillings per share. And ABSA Bank and Cooperative, there are two-tier banks that they really chase together. I put them in the same bracket as KCB and Equity. They share that tier, that line of competitiveness, so close. When KCB is trading at 80, you find when Equity is trading at 80, you find KCB is trading at 73 or 76 around there. Like for today, KCB has closed at a share price of 73 shillings, of course, and some cents. I'm giving a distinct figure that is 73 shillings. But back to ABSA Bank, you see that move, that news that ABSA Bank laid, that is a green flag to you as an investor. Getting now to delve just a little more deeper to get to know how are they gonna roll out this, how are they gonna captivate the market to come and consume their services more. Because through that, you get the value of that bank gets to appreciate more and more. And when you have invested or when you have invested in it, you also get to reap those profits because you are owning a piece of that bank. That is on ABSA Bank. Remember, ABSA Bank today has closed at a share price of 30. It was trading at a share price of around 29. by the beginning of this week. At the beginning of this week, it was trading at a share price of around 29. It was fluctuating between 29, 28. But today, Friday, we have closed it being at a share price of 30 shillings. So it is just below cooperative with 3 shillings. Now, let's look at KCB. KCB is one of the best banks, top tier banks in Kenya. It's one of the apex banks in Kenya. KCB together with Equity, they are actually competing at the apex, at the topmost actually of the banking sector. They are one of the best banks in Kenya. You choose either to invest in KCB or Equity. There are those ones who prefer going full throttle on KCB. There are those ones who consider having all their funds, investment funds, going to Equity as their apex bank. There are those ones who try to balance a 70-50, a 70-30, or a 50-50, or a 60-40. It depends with your own analysis and also with some other external factors that you are actually looking at before you stake your funds. But to me, as an investor, personally, as Daniel, my funds, I direct them much more to KCB because me, I've done my analysis of KCB and I find that KCB has a good stake, has a good promise to me. Not that equity has bad promise, but to me, KCB, I find it more attractive to me staking my funds in there because on the considerable length of time that I've decided to invest my funds in KCB, I find it having to be giving me great returns in the long run. That is in KCB. KCB has closed today, Friday, with a share price of 73 shillings. We don't know how next week it will open, as we're also looking forward to having in Family Bank also joining the group of banks in the banking sector. We've heard rumors that it is coming at a share price of around 18, if I'm not wrong. But aside that one, coming to these are three banks that I'm really looking at them as hotcakes to me as a long-term investing avenue. Of course, there are other banks that even pay very well. Actually, I&M is one of the banks that you have to consider. But today, this video I've dedicated it to these three blue chip banks. That is KCB, Cooperative, and ABSA Bank. And my great focus are on these three banks. We have these other banks. I don't want to focus much on them. We have BTB also doing well in dividend payments. I&M doing very well in dividend payments. Stanbic, Stanchart, mention all of them. Today's video, I'm focusing on KCB, Cooperative, and ABSA Bank. Those three banks, they are banks that you can't throw a cold shoulder on them. Cooperative, especially Cooperative, look at KCB. Look at the prospects that KCB has laid down. Look at what KCB has written down that they want to achieve in the African market, in the African banking market. Look at it. Look at what ABSA has just recently come up with in terms of widening its scope in offering banking services to the Kenyan market. That one also is an impact. That's actually a green line that you have to underline as an investor, getting to know that this one can really affect the share price of this bank. That is for ABSA Bank. And then for Cooperative Bank, you come and underline the amount of shares that the CEO of Cooperative Bank decided to buy back the shares to also for himself to invest in Cooperative Bank. You see, those are the things that you have to really underline as an investor. You cannot go a colder shoulder on them. You can't ignore them because they really go down and affect the share price. The ripples of those information of that news really narrows down to affect the share price. And you as an investor, you won't like to be locked outside when people are reaping harvest out of their capital gains. And then you'll be there saying that, oh, by the way, I got this information, but how did I just leave it to go pass me by? No. As an investor, you can't do like that. You can't behave like that. Look at these three banks. I'm giving you this information today that you can be able to go and look at these banks. Actually, narrow down to them, zero into them. There are things that they have underlined. There are those scopes that they have set aside that they are really very important. You can't ignore, you can't give them a colder shoulder because they affect the capital gains, they affect the share price of that bank. Consider those three banks, KCB, ABSA, and Cooperative, and be monitoring them so closely. Actually, you can just even bookmark. Monitor them so closely, and you'll come back and tag me in this video. All in all, Leave your comments in the comment section and also tell me what are your views on these three banks, that is KCB, Cooperative, and ABSA, and whether you've also staked your funds there, whether you've also invested in those three banks, what are your percentage investment rates that you have invested in those banks, and what are your visions on your funds after you have invested in those banks. So feel free, you can also engage me on that so that we can be able to see, even as we are looking at the major sector, how it is performing. Of course, the banking sector in Kenya is performing very, very well, but we've just tried to zero in to these three banks so that we can be able to see what are we going to reap from the market, from the entire pool, from the entire ocean. How big is the fish that you're going to come out of this with it? So give your feedbacks in the comment section. We get to see about it.